This is Series 2, Episode 5 of the Cold Brew podcast. It originally aired on the 20th of February 2020 from Insanity Radio 103.2 FM. Enjoy the show. This is Cold Brew, Series 2, Episode 5. Let's get on with the show. It was, to be honest, today I was just in my room preparing for this, and I realised it's still light outside. This was about 5 o'clock, and I was like, you know what, I really need to start preparing for this because I saw the clock. I've been in winter mode and I've been looking outside at the light outside to see what time I should be doing things, and today it was really bright about 5 o'clock, and I was like, you know what, maybe we're getting into spring soon. So that was exciting for me, and I had to sort of panic plan this show. I already had some ideas noted down what I'm gonna, what today's show is going to be about and that sort of thing. But I was like, you know what, I need to actually plan this. So that was took a bit of thought, and it was a bit shocking for me anyway. This sort of week I've been really thinking about getting work done. That momentum I told you last week that I had, I was I was getting things done last week. This week that sort of slowed down. So yeah, I had a few deadlines in February, and I sort of was working quite close to them, quite close for comfort. Not as close as I was doing in first year, but quite close. And this, I took that energy that I was using and decided, you know what? Let's use that. Let's use that energy I was using up at them deadlines to keep working and keep going, because I've got like 4 deadlines next month, and I've got to kind of get started on that stuff early, So I'm there using this momentum. Last week, that was all going great. I did quite a lot of work, but now it's slowing down because I'm starting to realise, March is like a month away, but, it's coming quickly. Mainly because February is short, which is quite annoying, actually. Not usual, which does throw me right off. Not used to that. So there's me trying to get my stuff done using that momentum. It's good. Do it. If you do a lot of work, you can get that momentum up. Don't burn yourself out, but you can sort of get in the swing. And I was at the library a lot this week. And for the next few weeks, I'm going to be in the library a lot because I've got a lot to do, and I've just got to keep telling myself, March is not that far away. I think it doesn't help to say I've got this due next month. I think you need to do everything by how far it is from now. Like saying it's next month is like saying something's next week. It could be Sunday night and you could have something to do Monday morning and you'd be like, it's next week. It's not helpful because really time doesn't work like that. The Earth's spinning round doesn't know what month it is. The moon does. That's another thing. Anyway, I've got more advice for you this week. This really is turning into an advice show where I give you advice which I wish I heard, or I've learnt the hard way. I'll tell you what is also pretty in pink: oyster fairs. Have you ever used a pink reader? Because I hadn't until that one time. It must have been just before summer last year, quite a long time ago, when I first used one by accident. Richmond Station, been there? You got the Southwest trains that take you to wonderful places such as Egham, and you've got the Underground, which takes you to London, basically. Also Overground. So there I am, coming off the District line, thinking, well, I've just come off this platform, and I need to go to that platform. That's like just over there. So I'll just, look, there's a reader. Maybe this reader means I'm changing trains. So I come out the District line, walk across the ticket hall, tap my oyster on the pink reader, just go get my train. I was, not that wasn't that slow, because my train was coming and I didn't want to go upstairs. I didn't want to look a bit weird tapping out of the oyster zone to put my train ticket to, like, literally do a 1/2 maths, tap out my oyster card to do a 180 and put my train ticket back in the gate and go in to get my train. I thought, that's a bit weird. They must have put this pink one here for people that are getting on Southwestern. So I walk from the district line, tap the pink reader, get on the train to Egham. It was lovely. It was nice. And I thought, that's really helpful. I love that they do that for you. That's so nice of them. Wow, it saved me so much time. Next time I get on the train, I haven't got any money on my Oyster because they charged me £8. What? Yeah, they charged me £8 because I used the pink reader wrong. I was mad. And then I went onto the refunds tab and they offered me some refund for some other ticket. And I was like, what? Why have I got a refund for that ticket but not this one that was £8? Bit rude of them. So I said, okay, TfL, all right. What's that all about? You really want me to tap out and put my ticket back in, go literally 180 back into the thing? Really didn't understand what they wanted me to do. And so I looked up pink reader. I was a bit scared. I was like, £8, I'm never touching that again. You basically, I don't know, think of an anecdote, not an anecdote, think of a metaphor for the Oyster pink reader. You can tweet that one to Insanity Radio if you want. There I was, pink reader, £8. That was like, that's not right. I looked it up. They say, this is the TfL website I've got up here next to me. If you're travelling across London but not through Zone 1, you need to touch in on a yellow card reader at the start of your journey, touch a pink reader when you change trains, touch out on a yellow reader at the end of your journey. Well, that's fine, but there's no yellow reader at Egham. I was well confused. What's that all about? There's no... Wow. It's not going through Zone 1, and the district line does, if you didn't know this, go through Zone 1. So what do? I'm there. What do I do? Well, the other week, I went home again. And this was last weekend. Last weekend, I went back. There was a engineering work. I really can't think of words today. There was an engineering... they were doing engineering works on the district line, so I had to use overground. I thought it cost more. Apparently it doesn't. Apparently, if you use the pink reader and you've got a rail card, you can use the overground for £1. What? That's where it comes in. I used the pink reader on the weekend. That's my whole story. So I'll tell you how I used the pink reader, how I got from Richmond back up to northeast London, sort of Stratford area, for £1, right after these. I guess this is the equivalent to a public service announcement. Yeah, you might not have heard of this. It will save you a lot of money. I think I did, over summer, go through places where it was the £1 fare, but that was using the DLR, and that also surprised me because I didn't know Oyster, what they called fares, are so difficult to work out. First of all, the website's terrible, and it's a whole thing of what time you're going, where you're going to. It's all zones and stuff. I'm just like, okay, it'll probably cost me just about £2. Just save £2 and you can do it. I've got a rail card, by the way. £2, you'd be good for a journey. And I was expecting £1.80 fares, but I'm going from northeast London down to Docklands on the via Stratford, using that reader in the middle, thinking, hold on, I've tapped in where I live, then I've tapped in again to DLR, and then I've tapped out. Is that right? Because it says entry, and then, well, something. It worked out in the end, and I was like, that's amazing. £1. I didn't know that, and I was thinking, have they messed it up? Is it supposed to be £1 to get from there to there? And apparently it is, so I'm grateful for that. It is weird though, it says entry when you tap the pink reader to change trains. I'm like, why am I entering if I'm just changing trains? But I guess that's just what you do. Anyway, they're all around the place. What I did, my journey was Egham to Richmond, for day return, rail card £4.95. Not too bad for a return. It's about like £2.40 something each way. That's not too bad. Yeah, that's okay. Then Richmond to where I live, just past Stratford on Central Line. Change at Stratford. Here's where you do it. You take the overground. That's a long train. You're on that for a lot of stops. Basically, think of it like this. The train terminates at Richmond. You get on it. it goes to where it terminates at Stratford. A long journey. You get off the train, tap the pink reader, get on the next train you want, go to wherever you want, not in zone 1, by the way, tap out, and it takes £1. Do that both ways, that's £2, that's £4.95, and that £2, so you've got £6.95. So for basically £7, you've done a return journey to the other side of London in a day. That is a bargain, according to me, anyway. So there I am, done that. That's all good, and I've worked it out. I've worked out the cheapest way, and it's taken me a while, because all of that going through Waterloo, taking those Jubilee or whatever line from Waterloo, don't do it. Costs a lot of money, and it's also really busy. The overground is basically empty all the time, so because no one goes on that. So you're basically, great job, well done me. I've done some working out. So as a detective of the pink, the pink card readers, but I love poached eggs. They're one of my favourite foods, and I have them for lunch a lot. They're really brunch, but when you don't wake up till 1, it's basically lunch, isn't it? You can't really call it brunch at that point, can you? Anyway, I forgot to pick them up from Tesco's this week, so I just wanted to tell you about that. How distraught I was when I didn't get them. I also forgot to pick up butter, so I need to... Well, I've been just going without butter and eggs this week. Vegan life. No, not really. But there I am, without eggs. And also, as a side note, so what am I saying? Someone in this uni has me as BTEC Benny, because apparently I looked to them when they were drunk, like Benedict Cumberbatch, that actor. So there I was in their phone as BTEC Benny, and I don't know if that's an insult or a compliment. Anyways, someone mentioned Benedict this week, not Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't know what they were mentioning, to be honest. They said Benedict, and I said, don't get me started on hollandaise sauce, because that stuff is hard to find. Hollandaise sauce? Oh. And I went into Aldi, they hadn't heard of it. I asked them, I said, do you have any hollandaise sauce? They said, what's that? I was, excuse me? Oh, where? Tesco's is expensive. I feel like I might get it cheaper in Waitrose, just because more people buy it, don't they? I don't know what I'm saying now. I just really wanted some hollandaise sauce. It's so hard to find, and I don't know how to make it. It's like mayonnaise with more eggs in it. No clue whatsoever. So Eggs Benedict is not something that I've been eating recently. Just haven't been able to. So I've just been having poached egg on toast, because I did try it with mayonnaise. That didn't work at all. It's nothing like the real thing. It's hollandaise or nothing. And I was upset with the state of this world when I could not procure hollandaise sauce. So yes, I said, don't start with me. Don't you dare mention Benedict, because I can't find hollandaise sauce in Egham or anywhere else. I tried. So just wanted to share that with you, just tell you my plight in terms of the Eggs Benedict situation. I usually just have salt and pepper on them now, and I've got quite good at making them. People do fake poached egg, where it's like a little cup, or they put it in the microwave. I'm like, if it's not just dropped in the water, sorry, that's not poached egg. I don't mean to insult people, especially those in the food industry. When you go out and you eat out and you pay for a poached egg and they give you something they cooked in a cup, and I'm like, I cook them with quite a lot of vinegar because, to be fair, I'm not an expert. You see what I did there? But I use a lot of vinegar because it actually helps. And people come down and they say, why are you boiling vinegar? I'm like, I'm actually making poached egg. I'm actually making food. I'm not just in the kitchen boiling vinegar for no reason. It's a very good reason behind it, actually. Thank you very much. Anyways, talking of eggs, I've got something else I need to share with you regarding, I think it was last week or the week before the episode, I think it was last week's episode. Anyway, I've got something to share with you regarding that. But I was looking for a hollandaise sauce themed song, and that is not easy to find. Just as hard to find as the hollandaise sauce itself. If you know any hollandaise sauce songs, let me know. Regarding eggs, I last week ranked a bunch of eggs from the SU shop, and I don't think I mentioned the Lindor egg, Lindor. Actually, I've got my notes from last week. If you just bear with me a second, I can check my. Let's just have a quick check over this ranking again. Where is it? So, it was more than 2 weeks ago. Wait. I can't find it. This was a few weeks ago now. The Lindt egg wasn't on there, and I had it the other day. Maybe it's new. I don't know. You tell me. I had it the other day and thought, this is really nice, but it did highlight something that's followed me for ages, and that was the issue that I didn't know the difference between Lindt and Lindor. So I googled. I thought, well, I'll just Google it. I'll Google which one I think is the company, which I thought was Lindt. And spoiler, I was right. I googled Lindt and it just told me it's what comes out dishwasher, tumble dryer. Other things I get mixed up. That could be a whole show. So Lindt, a chocolate company, apparently founded in 1836 in Zurich. Lovely. That is Lindt is the company. Lindor is a type of chocolate. And now it goes on about Lindor was a chocolate bar in the 40s, and then in the 60s became a ball. This is the history of Lindor on Insanity Radio 103.2 FM. They then have the egg, which is not on the Wikipedia page, which I guess I could amend, although I don't know anything about it other than the fact that they made one. It's not even in where it says seasonal, because it talks about the Lindt bunny, which I adore. Not the Lindor bunny, because the Lindor bunny would have to be filled with a softer chocolate. That's the you know what, you look at Wikipedia while you're talking and you just keep seeing more things. Roger Federer, something, but there's all these what are they called, flavors of Lindor, which I've never seen before. Peppermint Lindor sounds amazing. I don't think, we probably can't get that in the UK. Anyway, there's all these bars, but the what do you call it? The Lindor egg is not on there. So I feel like Wikipedia needs to be updated by someone. If anyone's listening, that's I don't know. You've got a quiet night. You can add that to your to-do. If you're into correcting the Wikipedias of chocolate companies. Anyways, that's just what I need to add. Lindor is the type of chocolate, soft chocolate within a hard shell. Lindt is the company, and that's Lindt with a D in it, in the Lindt, not Lindt, what comes out the tumble dryer. Because that's something else, and there's another whole story. My washing machine went so wrong the other day. Someone turned it off while it was on, didn't realise it hadn't finished its cycle. We got a really old washing machine. Didn't realise they turned it off before it finished the cycle, so I opened it up and the water came out. That was quite funny. And then we had to mop the floor. So, it has been a terrible weather week yet again. Today I was caught in the rain. I had a bunch of people laugh at me and I said, "Don't you dare." I said, "Don't say a word." Because people get covered in rain all the time, and I don't know why it's funny when I am, because my hair goes all flat and my glasses were completely... I could not see a thing through them. But it is calm this evening, and the weather, as far as it was before I got into this studio, has been nice. Yeah, the weather here says showers will ease through the afternoon. Well, afternoon's been, it's now evening, almost night, and I can the opposite of contest. This is correct information. So I was like, what is a calm after the storm? Oh, calm after the storm. I know that song, Eurovision 2014. The Common Linnets, of course, Waylon came back for 2018. Well, And now Storm Dennis happened, didn't it? And in memory of my umbrella, which was completely obliterated by that wind, Rihanna. This is Cold Brew. Now, I want to talk to you a bit about some podcasts that I've been listening to. As I did last week, I recommended, it was, I think, Americast and Acting Prime Minister. This week, I want to talk to you. That was when I was going to do the alphabet model. And I was going to do, well, this week would have been the podcast beginning with B. But then I thought, actually, the comparison I did between two similar podcasts, which I love both of, but they're different styles, you know what? I'm going to stick with that. So this week, I've compared Jonathan Van Ness's Getting Curious with a one-off podcast, actually, by Jenna Friedman, both on the Earwolf Network. So Jonathan Van Ness is called Getting Curious with Jonathan Van Ness. He talks to experts in their field, but he talks to experts about what they do, I guess, is what I'm saying. And he discusses with them the significance. Sort of society and science is the two main themes that he's going to talk about. That's a weekly podcast from Earwolf. And then Jenna Friedman is a comedian. She did a one-off podcast talking to an expert about the coronavirus. She was addressing a lot of misinformation about it. And that's a really good listen, actually. Both of them are speaking to experts, but to very different styles. So Jenna Friedman's was a lot more upbeat. It's a very I don't know what to say, serious issue she's dealing with. The coronavirus misinformation, which obviously everyone's heard rumors about the virus, and actually unpicking that with a scientist made a good show. And they had it was a very awkward conversation they had between sort of a comedian and a scientist. A very awkward listen. But it made a great show and actually dispelled a lot of myths, got a lot of good information out there. So I'd recommend, I haven't even said the name of that one. That is Earwolf Presents I Don't Mean to Scare You with Jenna Friedman. Getting Curious with Jonathan Van Ness comes out weekly. I can't remember which day. I believe it's Wednesdays. Recently, he's done episodes on the impact of slavery on America today and the gender pay gap and wealth gap. But he also talks to scientists. So he did an episode at Kew Gardens about plants. So yeah, as I said, two very different podcasts, both of which I love, two very different styles, but similar. The similarities between them. That is Earwolf Presents I Don't Mean to Scare You with Jenna Friedman and Getting Curious with Jonathan Van Ness. I'm going to wrap up the show now. Thank you so much for listening. You can find the Cold Brew, you can find this show and all my past shows. If you just search for the Cold Brew podcast online, it will come up any podcast where, if you listen to podcasts already, have a search for it, see if it's there, the Cold Brew podcast. It should be, because I put it on most places. Thank you so much for listening to yet another episode of Cold Brew. I'll speak to you next week.